First, congratulations to the Corps. It looks alive and great. I was telling stories when I was here. It was considered a company command, even though we had the largest Corps in the state at the time. And it got really tiresome when we would go to the state functions, and we always had to salute guys that had 4 or 5 members in their whole Corps. And I'm like, okay, because they were a battalion and we were a company. I'll tell you a couple quick stories. The first one I'll tell you is I just finished my junior year in high school, and my father came to me and says, "Tony, do you want to seek an appointment to one of the academies?" And I looked at my father and I said, "You know, Dad," I said, "it's selective service now, and I don't think I'll have to serve a day in my life for this country, but I appreciate the service that you did in the Air Force during the Korean conflict time frame." And so after my freshman year, or my first year here at A State, I had enough hours that I was considered to be a junior. And for you guys, you know, I graduated in December, and everybody thinks, oh, he's a slow learner. Well, actually, I graduated in 3.5 years with 140 credited hours and never went to summer school. Figure that one out. But so anyway, after my freshman year, or my first year, one of my fraternity brothers here goes, "Hey, I want to go to this ROTC camp. Do you want to come with me?" And I said, "Okay." I told my father, who ran a construction company, I said, "I'm going to take 6 weeks off and I'm going to go to the ROTC camp." So we go up and we go through the medical screening, and the young guy that I came with, the fraternity brother, got DQ'd on medical, and so he went home. I was like, wow, so I got 6 weeks there. I came home and I joined the Corps as an MS3. 2 years later, I was commissioned as a lieutenant. And both my parents, who are now deceased and wish they were here, were there. And I think my dad his comment was, I think he was smiling and laughing at the same time. So, "You know, son, if you sought the commission, or if you sought the academy, you would have had a $500,000 scholarship and you wouldn't be paying for it." I said, "Thank you very much." But that's the way he was. You have to know my dad. And he taught us a lot. I come from a very large family. I've got I have 3 brothers. One of them just passed away a year ago. And my baby sister. So it's been I've had a very good career, and I've been in a lot of places. But there's a couple of people in the audience I'd like to recognize too that served with me. I went to it's the Balkans and it's Kosovo, and it's Fyrom is the former Yugoslavic Republic of Macedonia, and now it's called New Macedonia. So trust me, the world changes, the names change, but the people are the same. And matter of fact, I know one of the young ladies that lives there, we grew up there, that lives in my local town, and we talk about it. But in 2003, I was doing work out of Fort McPherson, and actually I was scheduled to be the brigade commander for the Third Army brigade commander for contracting. And thanks to a former boss, that got deferred, who spent 4.5 years in the federal pen for doing something wrong in our field of contracting. And the young man who they put in my position was in country about 30 days, and I get my first letter, or my first note saying, by name request, my name, to come help him run his brigade. My hierarchy at the time says, nope, you're not doing that. And I was surprised. I said, we always go to the guns, and he goes, nope, you're not going. I said, okay. About 3 or 4 months later, I get the second request by name comes in, and I look and they said, you're not going. I said, okay, salute the flag, not a problem. We were doing some classified contracts, and I was out briefing the Assistant Secretary of the Army for Policy and Procurement. And all of a sudden, the deputy walks in and says, I heard you volunteered. And I'm like, volunteered is not a word that most people use in the service, trust me. And I'm like, no, I don't think I volunteered, but what was it you'd like me? He says, well, we want you to go to Iraq. And I said, okay. And I said, and I started naming off the jobs that I thought were important as you walk down the list of jobs for acquisition guys. And he kept saying, no, no, no. And I finally looked down and I said, okay, tell me what you want to be, or what you want me to go there. He says, well, you're going to be the head of contracting activity for Ambassador Bremer and the Coalition Provisional Authority. And if you don't remember, Bremer was de facto the president of Iraq at the time. And I said, I looked at him and I said, you see these? These are wings. They're not stars. It says, the position you're asking for is a 2-star position. And they go, we understand that, but we think you can do it. I said, doing the job is not the issue for me. I said, the fact that I'm going there as a colonel is going to be the issue. And they kind of blew it off. And so anyway, but in the audience with me, they said, oh, by the way, you're going to have to work yourself in there. And I said, what do you mean? He says, well, they'd gotten into a conflict, and the coalition wasn't real and thrilled about having the Army come and do their contracting. And I said, okay. So I walked in the country with 3 people. I walked in with myself, a contracting officer, and another colonel who was out of the War College who was there to determine what the size of the force we needed to do the job. And with me today is Miss Patty Logston, who was that officer that came with me. In her 6 months in Iraq, she only did $300 million worth of contracts for me. We only did $18 billion for the time I was there, but she only did $300 million for me. Probably by far the most by any of the contracting officers I had. We joke about it quite a bit now. But we went on to do, we went on to grow this organization, and a 1-star general replaced me after my tenure. He stayed there a very short time, and then they finally got the 2-star in with about a 235-person organization to finish that mission. So I've had a very enlightening career, and I've had a very diversified career. I was talking to Advanced Sales last night, and we were talking about my time at Boeing. I did helicopters. I call it Helicopters R Us because we did the CH-46, the 47, the V-22, the Apache 64 Longbow, and what was the Comanche. So as an artillery officer, I got to see a lot of everything because I was in Acquisition Corps. And I think that hurts and helps sometimes. It helps the nation, helps us do what we need to do to make this a great nation and support this great nation. But at the same time, because of the fact I didn't have I wasn't tracking to my basic branch of artillery or something like that, it kind of comes back to bite you a little bit. But the world has changed. And for you, I will tell you, for the young cadets here, it's a different world. I mean, technology has moved this world so much faster, and you're going to be asked to do things so much quicker. You're going to, the time of big war or big battles are not there. You're going to see more of the guerrilla operations and the conflicts today that are very difficult to control. And you just need to, all I can tell you is do your best. I mean, I was very blessed, and I always thank my mother for this. Is she prayed very hard for me. I did not realize until after I retired that my 2 combat tours came after my father had passed away. But I actually went to combat twice as commander of troops, and both times I came home with everyone that I went with, which is an anomaly. And I thank my mother. with that, good luck. And thank you very much for this honor. Appreciate it.